All right, everybody, welcome back to our delegates and to citizens around the nation. We'll come back into order, and we're going to start with Unit 8.2 on our agenda. But to make it all good, we have to start in with a roll call. So I'll call your name and please acknowledge with here. President Glenn McCallum.
Here.
Thank you. Vice President Michelle Leclerc.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Lisa McCallum. Secretary McCallum. I see her name there. Okay, we'll come back to her. Northern Region 1, Laura Burnoff.
Uta.
Thank you. Leonard Markgrand, Northern Region 2.
Hey.
Mervyn Tex Bouvier, Northern Region 3.
Here.
Thank you. Ryan Lee Carrier, Eastern Region 1.
I'm here.
Thank you. Brent W.J. Dignas, Eastern Region 2. Mr. Dignas? No. Tim J.W. Rusin, Eastern Region 2A.
Here.
Thank you, Tim. Marg Friesen, Eastern Region 3.
I'm here.
Thank you. Loretta King, Western Region 1. Loretta King. Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A.
Here.
Thank you. Carrie Ann McLennan, Western Region 2.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Kathy Pruden-Ansel, Western Region 2A.
Here.
Thank you. Wendy Gervais, Western Region 3.
Here.
Thank you. Autumn Lang-LaRose, Métis Youth President.
Uta.
Thank you. Darlene Lang and Métis Women.
Here.
Thank you, Darlene. Back to Secretary McCallum.
I'm here.
Thank you. And then again, Brent W.J. Dignas. No. Loretta King, Western Region 1. No. Okay, we got quorum. All right, thank you. Now we'll
Came in.
okay, Loretta's coming back in. Okay. I'll just get a verbal from her. Loretta King, Western Region 1, you're with? Got to turn on her mic and Loretta King.
Hi, here.
Okay, thank you. All right, folks, we have quorum. Now we'll go back to Echo for our moment budget. Did someone have a presentation to pull up on her behalf? Is it the go on to the next slide or there we go?
No, if I can maybe just give a verbal update on our moment budget.
Sure, Echo, thank you.
Or do we have a presentation in our binders? It'd be great.
Information sales. I can address it. I can address that. So we have it's the same document that we've shared at the previous PMCs and at the MNLA. Since the MNLA, there's been no expenditures. That's all been put on hold. And so the documents that we've shared in the past, it's the same budget. There's been no new expenditures on our moment.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So Echo, if you just want to speak to that, I guess there's probably not much to say if we haven't spent any since I guess there was a motion to not spend anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. There is no updates on that.
Okay.
Mhm.
There we go. All right, now Minister Pruden. We're going to get an update on C92 and community engagement from Minister Pruden, the Minister of Child and Family Services.
Here,
Yes, Ms. Gervais.
sorry, I missed this. We actually had asked, I had actually requested at one of our last meetings that I wanted an update of where we were with the Our Moment budget, like, because we have a budget that we had 4-point-something million assigned to that. And we had requested that we get an updated budget of where we're at. Obviously, we haven't spent all of that based on the fact that the Our Moment campaign has been suspended for now.
Like,
So-
sorry, Minister, we'll upload the same document. It's the same as the last time you had the same request. It remains the same. There's been no expenditures. So we'll make sure that they'll pull it out of the online binder from the previous meetings and ensure that you have it uploaded into today's binder.
Okay, so for clarification, just for clarification then, I just need clarification. The the budget, 4.684 million. That's what, that's what, that's what the budget was in September. So my question is, what have we spent thus far, or up until it was suspended?
Yeah.
How, the full point four?
Can I answer, Mr. Chair?
Sure thing, Minister Friesen.
Thank you. We don't have a detailed report on the budget for our moment on the expenditures previous to the motion being carried in the last meeting to suspend. So I hear what you're saying, Minister Gervais. I hear your request. There was a bit of overlap there with the directives. I will take full responsibility for that, and ECHO will prepare what the current budget is that was approved and where we're at with the previous expenses, Minister Gervais. We will get that to you soon after this meeting, if not before the end of the day. Marcy.
Okay, thank you. But then I have a question, and maybe Echo
If I-
seeing how she's online, because it is an agenda item. Okay, it's an agenda item. And so I just assumed there'd be something on here. So Echo is online, and I want to go back to her variance report where she said the 1 point, I've got to look back here in my notes. The 1 point something on the variance, that was basically the advertising and so on and so forth, and media for the Our Moment. So my question would be this, I guess one of the questions is, if we've suspended it, we still have advertising going on. So
I can
is
explain that.
that most of us that 1 point something million? Is this
Can
X?
I
Can somebody tell?
I can address that, Minister. So if you're seeing Our Moment posters or billboards around the province, they would be the paper ones. And basically that would be where the company has not, so we suspended it all. So if you're seeing any Our Moment billboards out there, that's because Pattison or whichever company it might be that has those billboards has not actually rented out that space yet. So it has been covered up. We are not spending any more money on that. And then also too, I just would like to address the pieces. There was a budget, a projected budget for the whole like the treaty process. So that's ratification and all those pieces. That was that global amount that was in the budget of the 6 million you mentioned. And that was based on the negotiation process and getting those funds for ratification from Canada. As we're not at that piece right now, we have not received those funds. So the amounts spent so far, like I just want to clarify that there's not $6 million put aside, and because Our Moment's not moving forward, that there's a pot of funds available. We do not have those funds yet because we're not at the ratification process through the treaty process. So I just want to clarify that if the question is trying to figure out, is there a pot of funds sitting there unexpended and now can be reprofiled somewhere else? There is not.
and can I just add to that explanation, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard, for that explanation. The contracts that we had in place for advertising, such as billboards, radio spots, TV spots, there was no new expenditures after the motion. The directive was given by the PMC to stall or to pause all Our Moment spending. So those agreements were already in place. And as you'll see, this is Q1 and Q2 spending. And the advertising amount was actually contracted amount. So those invoicing or those expenses had not been reflected up until recent in Q2. So that explains why there's such a amount, because it was a contractual payment to those advertising companies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I have two questions, and one comment, and I'll say my comment first. So this is great that we're getting free advertising because our billboards are still up there. So thanks the media people, whoever they are. So that's awesome. Now I have two questions. And the first one is we had contractual obligations put in our budget for phase 2. Where are those contracts at? Were those signed contracts that we had to fulfill financially, such as a company creating a campaign binder? And did we have to fulfill that contract because was it signed? And if not, Richard, you're looking perplexed. I'll remind you, Nookham Solution had a $60,000 contract, and their contract at our meeting, you said, was that they were going to put together a get out the vote campaign binder. So were we obligated to pay out that contract? And if so, do we actually have the binder? And can we get it if we do? If we didn't have to pay it out, that's great. I mean, I'm not saying it's great for the company, but it's money in our coffers. So there were some contracts there. Are we obligated to those contracts? And then when I look at our list, the MNLA for November 1st to 3rd was part of this budget. And yet when we had that discussion prior, we kind of minced words a bit where we stated that we've already spent our dollars for the MNLA, that financially we were trying to be fiscal responsible. But it was part of the budget for phase 2. So I'm unclear. Somebody
Okay,
clarify.
can I respond, Mr. Chair, please?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister Gervais, for your question. The expenditure, the special MNLA was budgeted with the preconceived notion that we would be on the path to treaty, and those were to discuss the treaty process. That's what the special MNLA was for. That was dated for February, and that was perceived in that budget, but the fall MNLA was perceived in the fiscal year budget. And I'll let Richard respond to your other question. Thank you.
So I just got a note from our team that was working on it saying that any contracts we were in, we had to fulfill because we were in them. But any like phase 2, any of that, we have not spent any money since the October PMC resolution saying to halt all expenditures. They've stopped. In terms of Nookham Solutions contract, I'd have to look at that, but I would assume we were in a contract and we would have had to fulfill that. It was not a large contract by any means, but we'll have to look at that, and I can definitely get back to you, and then we'll make sure that it's in the update that we provide to you in your binders. We'll have that information provided.
Okay, thank you, Richard, because if we've had to fulfill it, then the product that was the result of that contract, the PMC should be privy to that. That's number one. And I just want to clarify with Minister Friesen, when you stated that it was the special MNLA in February that was budgeted. When I look at phase 2, it's very clear it was MNLA November 1st, Regina. Allotted was $475,000 on this budget. So we weren't covering the February MNLA here. We were actually covering the November MNLA.
So the November MNLA was regular governance dollars. That was not we had for ratification purposes. There would have been, if necessary, to have a special assembly if we had to. But the ratification piece, that was to follow. What was going to be used was our moment dollars. So for the treaty process was the General Assembly process is what it was going to pay for. It was going to pay for the General Assembly that was going to be held, and then the way that we were going to have the satellite locations across the province for the ratification of the treaty itself. That's what was going to be used. The MNLA that we had was not our moment funds spent on that. And then also, I just had the update on Nookham Solutions. So we were in a contract that needed to be fulfilled. So when there was no more spending could be done on our moment, we used the remaining of that budget with that service provider for lobbying, for self-government to continue the process to ensure that All the pieces that our leaders at the MNLA and what you continue to say at the PMC are, not to have bare bones, kind of empty treaty. Negotiations continue to ensure that it's something meaningful and is done in a way that, the direction that we've been given. So it's been for lobbying to ensure that our self-government process continues.
Okay, thank you for that actually update, Richard. But I just would like a couple of clarifications. So I go back to the budget that we were given that we passed. And this was in regards to the R moment, phase 1 and phase 2. And in that budget that we passed, it doesn't say AGA, it doesn't say February, it says MNLA, November 1st to 3rd, Regina. We allotted $475,000.
Well,
So
I'll get you the update. I'll get you all that update. So that way, you'll have it again.
thank you. Well, that's like, we need these updates so that we're not up. And thanks for clarifying the contractual
Yep.
obligations. That would have been great to have as an update as well.
No, happy you got it.
Thank you, Minister. Bailey Weeb, is that you, Secretary McCallum, through Bailey's feed? Bailey Weeb has her hand up. Yeah, so okay, we'll just close that hand then if no one's going to speak to it.
No, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay, good. So I have a question. In the document, it says M&S submitted a proposal for $4.7 million dollars. Can you confirm if this has been approved by Canada? And if it hasn't been approved, can you also provide the communications to us as PMC between Canada and the M&S for transparency and accountability? Because we were told, in that meeting, and we go back to our discussion minutes as well. And because, what.
The answer is no, we have not received it. We have not had a response on it. So there's been no communication. It was submitted as part of our negotiations plan through self-government. That is the budget that went in. That's the request for ratification that we put in, seeing that we are not at the ratification process. It has not been approved by the federal government and there's been no communications.
Okay, so you speak on the financial responsibility, but saying that in one thing and doing another, spending money on a treaty. And as Aaron Reed had stated at our table at that time, if we don't get the money, so where's this 2.7 or 2.7 million dollars coming out of? Because if we're saying as such as Tex referred to as capacity, even for the locals, $2.7 million is a lot of money. So where is that money coming out of it? Coming out of the
fiscal
budget?
financing agreement for self-government. There's self-government process. We have had the rights and recognition self-government table since you signed the very first step of this process with MOU, framework agreement, MGSRA 1, MGSRA 2.0. And that's we get funding for the self-government process. That is from that. The 4.5 that you're referencing is for ratification of the end of the treaty. That's the going out, engaging the people, all of that stuff. We have self-government dollars that are specific to self-government. That's what we use for that. So we were able to get as far as we did using the self-government dollars that we currently have on the table through our interim fiscal financing agreement, which is part of the treaty process.
Thank you, Richard. So on the variance report, does that show the variance of how much that $2.some million came out of the self-government? And does it show that we receive dollars from the federal government on our self-government agreements that we've signed, the past 5 agreements since 2019?
Yes, that is always in our audited financial statements. It's always within that. It shows all the resources, all sources of funds that we receive from all funders is always in there, and it's in our audited financial statements. Yep, it's in there and available to you, and it has been shared with you and approved by all of you.
May I also add a comment, Mr. Chair?
yeah, last comment, then we'll move into the next item.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Richard, for that very detailed explanation. Every I'll just add to the audited financial statements, there's a schedule for each department, and the legal services, policy and self-determination, those schedules are in the audited financial statements, so you will have a detail of expenditures in those schedules. Thank you.
Okay, just one last question, then before I close off, can I request a copy of those agreements then? Because if obviously it sets out of what we're supposed to be doing within self-government. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get those agreements together and we'll make sure that it's available to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
All right, number 9, update on C92 and community engagement. Kathy Pruden-Ansel, Family Services. I assume there's a presentation, or is this a verbal update, Minister?
Nope, there will be a very short presentation. Our director, Jason Mercredi, will be presenting that. I just have a few short comments before Jason starts. First of all, I'm really proud to report back not just to this PMC, but to the citizens of our nation that as we fulfilled a commitment that we promised last year that we would come back to the community and report back to them what we heard the first go around. And the second go around was filling them in on what we heard in that first go around, and also how we fit those issues and priorities into a draft model of care. Jason will be going over that. I just really want to commend Jason and all of the staff for some really hard work, some scary highway driving moments, as well as small town experiences for some of the staff. It was wonderful to be in community and fully participate with the citizens and listen to what they had to say. I'm also really happy to report to the PMC and our citizens that we had a great increase in youth participation this time, both in person and also in the surveys. I'm really glad because we were missing that voice the last time, and I know President LaRose also helped really promote it and get the word out. There were several virtual sessions as well where citizens could come and participate and give their input. Overall, I'm really proud. One comment I do want to leave with the PMC is that we heard over and over that Child and Family Services needs to be a continued priority for this government, that without strong children and families, we will have no nation, and that we have to work together. And I'm calling on my colleagues, my fellow ministers, that we work together so that it's for the betterment of all of our nation, all of our children, all of our families, and all of our communities. So with that, thank you very much to all of those that participated and came out. Some of the nights were very cold and blustery, but I'm happy to say we visited over 24 communities, and it was a lot of work, but oh, so very worth it. We really enjoyed the input and discussions that that we had. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jason, and he's just briefly going to run over a little bit of what we discussed with the communities themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Yeah, so this is regarding our engagements in what we're calling phase 2. If we can go to the next slide. So how we got here, if we go to the following slide. So what is Bill C-92? Just a quick recap. So Bill C-92 was enacted in 2020. It's a bill, Bill C-92 had a title change to the Act respecting First Nations, Inuit, and Métis children, youth, and families. The Act recognizes the inherent right of Indigenous communities to oversee and deliver child and family services. It enables Indigenous governing bodies to develop their own legislation and standards for child and family services. and it aims to reduce the overrepresentation of Indigenous children in care by promoting culturally appropriate and community-led solutions. You can go to the next slide. So why does it matter to Métis Nation? So Métis Nation is the Indigenous governed body for Métis people within Saskatchewan. We have the opportunity to assume jurisdiction over child and family services. The Act enables M&S to create a distinctions-based child and family service delivery system that reflects Métis cultures, values, and community needs, and it supports the efforts to keep Métis children connected to their families, culture, and community. Next slide. So as I mentioned at the start, we're in phase 2. Phase 1 was last fiscal year where we did what was called the GEMS engagements around C92, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a couple minutes. We've started phase 2 this year, and it's going to overlap into next year and likely the year after. A number of these phases will be happening simultaneously, but next year is when we're going to be starting to do consultation in terms of the legislation and laws, and these are going to take a number of years to get right, especially the legislation, but even the service delivery model, where we have to, take what we heard from community this year, develop it into some reports, and then send those back out to community, and then go back and consult community to make sure that we heard it right. And there's going to be a number of opportunities for citizens to provide feedback next year again, and for us to get information from community. And we're going to be doing both service delivery model next year and starting, as I mentioned, the legislation piece, but it's going to take several years before we go into phase 2, which is joint jurisdiction over child and family services, which we'll have to serve final notice to Canada and then go into negotiations. But we really want to take our time in the development to make sure that we're getting it right, because a number of our First Nations colleagues have warned us that a number of them had done it rather quickly, and as a result, they're either giving back jurisdiction to the province, or they're having to go back and renegotiate. And it's tough to, once you agree to a funding agreement, to go back and say you need to renegotiate, especially after a year or 2 years. And so we want to make sure we're costing this out effectively and making sure we're addressing community needs. Next slide. As C9 as it relates to C92, we did 24 in-person engagements. We had 3 in-person youth engagements. In addition to that, 5 virtual engagements, and in total, we had 286 citizens attend our engagements. And then we also had the ability for citizens to complete an online survey. And so we had 72 completed online surveys, and we're going to leave that open until the end of February, just to see if we get any more feedback. But we're happy with that 72 online survey, and we're developing some processes to make it a little bit easier internally next year for people to complete the online survey as well as doing the in-person. As you can see, we've gone. Back to the previous one. As you can see, we went to every region and tried to cover as much area as we could with these engagements. Next slide. So learning more about a proposed model of care. Next slide. So this is based off what we heard from the GEMS community, which we then used to formulate the reports that you all have a copy of, and they're available on the Métis Nation website under the Child and Family Services area. But based off what we heard last year, we had kind of 9 key findings. The first one is folks want program delivery to be locally delivered whenever possible, community delivered whenever possible. So obviously that has dual meaning for Métis Nation. A lot of the prevention stuff we're looking at, we're trying to cost out, and as I said, it's going to take a lot of options, and a lot of years to develop, and we want to make sure we're getting it right. So we're going to be going back out to community to figure out these are the models that you wanted and programs that you want, and then trying to figure out who is the best delivery, what's the best delivery mechanism for a lot of these. But that was front and center. Next one is cultural continuity, and so cultural continuity needs to be embedded throughout all programs and service delivery. It's not just like a pillar, but it's foundational principle to how we develop our service delivery model. And then substantive equality, a lot of discussion in community about inequities, specifically around things like Jordan's principle for Métis children. And so we want to make sure that we're advocating for our own, and we have a bit of game plan that we were hoping to start on this month, but obviously delays with what's happening in Ottawa. But we have a plan to hopefully in the coming years get our own version of Métis Child First Act in place. And then preventative care needed to be the focus. We want to be working on upstream solutions, not downstream solutions. And so the big focus needs to be on preventative care. And then mental health and addictions, appropriate mental health and addictions available to citizenry throughout the province. Obviously, this is a major issue within Saskatchewan. The Métis aren't immune to it. And so we got to make sure that we're supporting families and youth so that they can address this in communities. And then sixth is youth aging out of care. And so we need to make sure we have a robust plan for supporting youth when they're aging out of the care. Obviously, the goal is to not have any kids in the system, but reality is there's likely going to be some, whether it's from abuse or neglect or those types of things that are going to be in more of like a foster placement and or community placement, even potentially kinship placement, but we still need to support them with proper programming that's dedicated to folks that are quote unquote aging out of care. And we're going to be doing consultation in terms of what is that age when we're considering an age out of care, and a lot more consultation will go into that. And then prenatal services, we need Métis specific prenatal services to support families, specifically mom and babies on the way up to delivery, but then even postnatally. But we need to focus on prenatal services for Métis parents, and then obviously ways to address poverty that are going to be effective to help folks get back on their feet. And then dispute resolution mechanism for child welfare. We're going to have dedicated consultations around that. And we didn't do much on it this year. As I said, we're focusing more on the legislation starting next year. And the reason we didn't focus on that this year is we wanted to determine what are the needs from community. And we're not really ready to report on that because we just finished going out on the road last week. And so we need to formulate all that information and develop a report, but we will have a report out, we're hoping by the end of March, if not very beginning of April, to report on that. And these are all based off the GEMS report to the Government Engagement Mechanism report that's available on the Métis Nation website. There's a lot more detail in that report, and I encourage citizens to go check out that report. We can go to the next slide. So our model of care, so when we're developing the Métis model of care, it describes the way how we envision Métis child and family services will be provided to keep families together and keep them thriving in communities. Our model of care will prioritize the well-being of Métis children, youth, and families by ensuring voices are heard, needs are met, and ties to community, culture, and family and kin are preserved. Next slide. And so there's materials available on the website.
Jason,
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Can you go back a few slides? There's a clarity. Tell me when you see it.
Dispute resolution mechanisms for child and welfare. Jason, it's Glenn.
So this is a good question, President.
I just wanted to add on. I don't want you to explain anything. I just wanted to add on. I met with social services last week. Jensen, the minister, wanted to meet with me, so I met with him. There's ongoing conversations going to be happening in the future. There's a role for the province to play here in regards to how we can better address the poverty issue, the parental services, all these things that you mentioned, addiction, preventative care, and then we have that hopefully breaking ground this spring with 90 beds. All of that good stuff that's happening right now, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much for doing that job, Minister, and your team. And but how do you fit in? Is there conversations around how the province could fit in within the plans that we have?
Yeah, so really what we are focusing on this year was what the community was wanting for us in terms of service delivery. We're going to be taking that, and then we do have an ongoing meetings with one of the assigned people from the province, and I believe we have some coming up meetings and planning meetings to determine what our shared priorities at the deputy level. And so we're going to be meeting that and then setting up future meetings to determine how we could better work together. In terms of the dispute resolution mechanism specifically, I think the province has their own mechanism, but I think through our process, we'll be developing a slightly different model than they do, but we are going to be working together going forward because they actually are very supportive of what the work we're doing. It's actually pretty refreshing, to be honest, that they're willing to work with us on a lot of this work. And but some of this stuff will be our own thing entirely. But there's not to mention that we're gonna need some sort of coordination agreements and stuff that we work out with the province that will be, once we get the model finalized, once we get the like the dispute resolution mechanism finalized, then we'll be going into negotiations with the province on how exactly we all line up with each other. But they've been very supportive of us from a bureaucratic standpoint and now from a political standpoint. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be fairly smooth sailing ahead. Like obviously there's going to be difficult conversations to be had, but they're pretty supportive of us on this. And so it's kind of exciting to work on a project with another government where they're willing to be collaborative.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason.
If I could just comment and follow up to President's comments around the dispute resolution part, we've kind of got our foot already in the forward motion because as VP Leclerc can testify, as well as the PMC, a draft kind of judicial reform was developed with Marilyn Patra and her company, and I've worked really closely with citizens and the PMC, and I can see elements of what was drafted potentially being developed and implemented in some ways through our own Métis distinct dispute resolution or problem solving, solution focused, whatever we want to call it. All of these names in here are just temporary. You know, Jason and I often talk about we're kind of using the systems language still, but those things that the community is going to help us to bring the names of things that we use.
Yeah, which if we could go forward to the model of care, I'll expand on the point the Minister Pruden just made.
I'll say about that is that my background is exactly what you guys are working on. Our ministry is working on, I should say. And I've been doing that in my home community for 20-some years, and I've done that in the city of Saskatoon. I have a lot of ideas in regards to what should be going on, but I leave it up to you in regards to the engagements that you're doing. The reason why I brought that up is that lack of connection that's always been there with governments, and that's why I brought that up. It's not to question anything that you do or how you're doing it, but it's just a matter of us as politicians that we connect with the right departments and governments. Like you say, Jason, it's nice to see that the province is coming on side, to be able to work with us alongside of us, to be able to know that we're distinct people, that we have our own program, we connect with our people the right way, to be able to hear them in regards to what they would like to see. That's the only reason why I brought it up, is that the government needs to be involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
If we can move ahead a couple of slides, and then I can start answering questions. So just this is our proposed model of care, and as the Minister said, these are placeholders. They're not permanent. They're going to be shifting a little bit, but here's how we have them grouped to date. And there's more available information available on the website with handouts. And I know a lot of the PMC attended the engagements when they're in their regions, and so. But for the members of the public that want to get more information on the proposed model of care and kind of the program areas that we're looking at for programs and services, there are materials available on the website, the Child and Family Services link. But the groupings that we have right now are connections and support, housing stability, emergency financial supports, health and well-being, and protecting and reunifying families. And each of them has a subset of programs that have a subset of programs underneath of them that'll be based off the report. The report this year is going to be fairly large, just based off the amount of information we're starting to get, and we're really starting to get into the weeds with community. And so, we're looking forward to producing that report and making it available on the website, and then is part of our engagements next year as well to get further feedback. And so, with that, I'm happy to take any questions. I see a couple of hands raised.
Thank you, Jason and Minister Pruden. We will start with Minister Tex Bouvier.
So just a couple of questions, I guess. My first question is First Nations in Métis family, in the same family. We have the mom and a couple of kids that are First Nations, and then the dad have a couple of kids that are Métis. How is the partnership going to be created in that kind of family?
Yeah, that's a great question, Minister. Obviously, Métis families are really mixed, and communities are, we have a lot of mixed families, and so a lot of this is going to be we only have jurisdiction over Métis children as it relates to child and family services, but we will have service agreements with our First Nations counterparts. A lot of them, I think, are more than happy to figure out coordination agreements. It's really what's in the best interest of the child, and so it might be that we're responding to a call at night, and we have to connect with them in the morning, or vice versa. It could also be that they're accessing programming services, dollars, and programs and service or dollars from two different pots, and so that's all going to be to be determined with our coordination agreements. I like, it's really refreshing when we go out and do these engagements, although this has been the first round where I've done this much robust engagements, but the everybody seems to be on the same page about needing it to be in the best interest of the children, and including our First Nations colleagues. And I think this is, obviously, we'll probably run into hiccups here and there, but really we're going to need service agreements and coordination agreements with every First Nation and every IGB is providing child and family services. And I think we've seen an appetite for that within the communities. We've seen an appetite with that with leadership, and I think it's going to be good. It's not to say it's going to be always smooth sailing, but we're going to be hammering those out over the next couple of years before we get into service delivery. But yeah, good question.
So my other questions now is regarding the jurisdiction of the provinces in Canada outlined permanently with Section 92 of the Constitution Act 1867. The section specifies the powers and responsibilities that are exclusive under provincial control. And these are the keys, like healthcare. While not explicitly mentioned in Constitution Act 1867, healthcare is generally considered part of the province's jurisdiction over matters of a local or private nature in civil rights. And the other one is social services and welfare. Provinces have jurisdiction over social services, including welfare program, social assistance, and public housing. So just wondering, how are you going to put a legislation within their constitution? Like Canada has a constitution.
Yeah, so Bill C-92 actually gives legislation specifically on child and family services, gives the right to Indigenous governing bodies for child and family services. And it's actually been challenged in the Supreme Court. Quebec challenged it last year, and they lost. The Supreme Court was unanimous in their decision. And so the right to the Métis Nation is inherent, which is, obviously huge for us. And Canada's committed to this, and now they have to follow through on this. There's going to be some stuff where we're going to have to collaborate, as the president was referring to, and I think there's an appetite for that, like whether it's on housing units that are available, like social housing units that are available, some collaboration around healthcare. Like, I think folks are the Ministry of Health has been doing a really good job of working with the Saskatchewan Health Authority and building up those relationships. And Minister and me have had a lot of time in the car to talk about how to connect all the dots. Probably too much time where we're circling back, and we sound crazy when we're talking all about it, but it does make sense that this is going to kind of be one of the unifiers of the portfolios to match all the programs and services and make them all interconnect. Not make, but like it's going to be a big factor in a lot of our stuff connecting. And so it's really exciting. And I think with the province being on board with what we're doing, I think sky's the limit. There are obviously going to be some limitations depending on negotiations, but there are going to be some stuff that we aren't able to do, like specifically healthcare delivery, but that's not to say that we can't get agreements in place. The Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions has been working on trying to get a treatment program up and running. And so there's gonna be some aligned priorities for us and the province and the federal government, whoever that may be, in the coming years. So I think timing's good for us.
Okay, well, thank you for that and keep up the good work, you and Kathy.
Yep, thank you.
Right on, thank you. Minister Gervais.
Thank you very much, Jason, for your presentation. And I just want to take a moment because this usually doesn't happen very often. So I want to take a quick moment and I want to commend Minister Pruden Ansell for the work that she's done with this portfolio. But you can't do it on your own. And so Jason, as the director and all the staff that work with you, sorry here, my hair's all over the place. You guys have done an incredible job in a short amount of time. You hit the ground running. You guys went into the communities. You spoke to the communities. I've spoken to several citizens in my region who have been engaged with you guys. They've appreciated the respect that you guys have come into the communities. And I think more importantly, they feel like they're being heard. And they can see themselves and their voices in the presentations that are going on right now. And it's just, we talk about the integration of all of our different services, like you were speaking to, Jason. And to me, I see the visual is the Red River Cartwheel, right? And the cog of that wheel is CFS. It is C92. And I want to thank you too, Jason, during your discussion just now. You kept bringing back C92, the best interest of our kids, the best interest of the children. And that is being seen through the development and community co-development of what's going on here. So I look forward to seeing you do a lot more work, Jason, and your team. And I look forward to seeing, we know it's going to take several years, but you know what? I'm proud to be part of this, as part of the governing body and bringing this all together. It's a good day to be Métis today. So I want to thank you guys, and I also want to, so I don't want any other staff getting upset. I want to thank all of our staff for the work that they've done as well, and all the different departments. It's not easy building from scratch and trying to make sure that everything's integrated. And so thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gervais. Thank you, Minister Pruden and Jason. It looks like there's no more questions, so keep up the good work. A very, very important portfolio. The most, actually. Minister
Thank
Pruden,
you
any
very
last words?
much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Jason. As always, very thorough. You could talk really fast when you have to job. I just wanted to touch base on a couple things that Minister Bouvier also had brought up, because we did hear a lot in the communities where some of our families are experiencing the struggles of a blended family, where Jordan's principle is intercepting, and how it not just impacts the immediate family, but the community as well. And so I think even more so important that we continue to build these relationships with our First Nations, cousins. And some of that work is ongoing by all of us as members of the PMC, as well as our local presidents are continually building partnerships and relationships as well. And also thank you to Minister Gervais for recognizing this topic is very sensitive. It was not always easy for some of the citizens to share their experiences or to express their fears. We heard loud and clear, do not duplicate the current system. And so that's why we're really focusing on reporting back to validate that this is community driven and that they are going to be part of the re-strengthening of our nation and our families and communities. And I'm very honored to be the minister in this, breaking cycles. I'm hopeful. I can see many strengths in all of our communities, so we're well on the way to developing something that will bring all of us pride, and I'm grateful to all. Thank you.
Okay, just give me 1 second here, folks. Thank you.
Can't go when Cameron come back.
That's right. Okay, so folks, okay, do you see the message from Lisa? Can you let secretary in? Okay, we had some confusion there because there's two of you, secretary. But we're going to take a break right now because the next presentation, our presenter is going to be available at 2:15. She is currently in court. So we're going to take a break now. We'll start up again at 2:15 and we're going to do the election update and a workplace harassment presentation. So enjoy your break and we'll be back in public at 2:15.